Was reflecting back on my time last night at Assurance IQ, Amazon, Facebook, Jet.com, and other experiences that I had in the past. And reflecting back on some of the innovations that we have built and some of the very interesting problems that the teams that I was leading solved. And I was trying to understand how come is that the teams were so successful in um, finding creative solutions and building truly innovative applications. And I start to kind of go back in my memory lane and understand the key principles that I was utilizing to foster that culture of innovation within the teams. Uh, I wasn't a great expert in those areas, and certainly some of the individuals on my teams, they weren't great experts in particular areas, but yet we were able to accomplish so much and deliver so much value to our customers, to the business, to the community, from uh, building an e-commerce inventory platform that was capable of processing a million requests per second at like 2 millisecond, 99th percentile latency for reads and like 7 millisecond for writes. And Amazon built systems like a caching layer for Alexa for skill filtering that had 100 microseconds P99 latency that was always up to date. There were zero cache misses because we've implemented like a dual layer asynchronous refresh mechanism. To some of the other interesting things like answering machine detection that we built at Assurance IQ, a great telephony platform, AI agents, and other things. And I was thinking, like, well, how come all of the teams that I've worked with and partnered with and got a privilege to manage, they were so successful in solving those problems? And going through my memory lane, I decided to kind of take a note of 12 key principles that I think led to building such successful teams and the culture. And so I would like to share with everyone those 12 principles of culture of innovation. So building a culture of innovation requires more than just good intentions. It does demand thoughtful principles that are actively practiced and embedded in every aspect of the team, of the organization, and the leader has to exhibit and practice those principles on a daily basis. So I'd like to share the 12 key principles to help build and sustain such culture on your teams. So the first one is creating and establishing a clear decision-making framework that empowers innovation. So it's very, very important, very critical to have that clarity and allow individuals to uh, operate freely and be the risk takers, but within the set boundaries, right? A well-defined framework eliminates uncertainty, enabling the team members to focus on creative solutions without fear of making mistakes. And once that framework is clearly communicated to individuals and revisited frequently, it does accommodate growth and change. So individuals are able to make those decisions without constantly relying on their leaders and escalating up the chain to make those decisions. As a leader, you're able to distribute that decision making and move the organization and your team a lot quicker without being that bottleneck for decision making. It's important to also understand that um, when individuals on your team take those risks and make mistakes, there shouldn't be any public shaming. There's room for public shaming, and I'll get to it a little bit later down. But uh, for the times when individuals are trying to be creative, trying to take the initiative and move things forward, it's important to avoid any public shaming. So public failures can, uh, significantly limit creativity on the teams. And um, your goal as a leader is to emphasize that failure is a stepping stone to success, right? And that experimentation, even when it doesn't yield desired outcomes, is an essential part of innovation. So celebrate the learning process just as much as the end result and avoid perfectionism. Instead, focus on excellence. So excellence is, that there is a direction, that the individuals are constantly trying to improve, and the mistakes are allowed to be made because it's part of that learning process. Another important principle that I found that worked really well on my teams is to encourage the diversity of thought, experience, and different backgrounds. And the way I've done it is there are different individuals on the teams. Some are very vocal, some are less so, some are very, introverts. And it's important to create a variety of different forms for those individuals to express their ideas and let them be creative in their own way, or the way they can be creative. Um, so um, the goal of the leader is to avoid environments where the loudest voices win, but instead foster the culture where all ideas are valued and are analyzed and discussed based on merit. It's important also not to prevent individuals from working on some of the ideas in their own creative ways, uh, even if they don't have the necessary expertise. They don't need to have that PhD certificate to be able to go and explore a particular problem set. Obviously, that expertise may help, and usually it does, but sometimes, not always, sometimes it doesn't. So, in fact, some fresh set of perspectives and eyes without the baggage of traditional way of doing things can often lead to new insights. So, by doing so, you create a space where the diverse perspectives can flourish and leading to richer, more innovative solutions. The other important aspect is to not um, forget about the operational excellence. So it's important to shine a light on something that is routine or mundane, and even boring work is necessary and deserves attention. But do it in a way that is natural. And again, um, so this is where a lot of the leaders resort to public shaming, which could be appropriate for those individuals who often miss or forget about that work. But creating those mechanisms and that automation and creating that discipline of, um, having, let's say, those consistent meetings, let's say about reviewing the metrics, etc. It creates that culture where it's very easy um, to go with the flow for some of the mundane things and some of the process things, while yet still put a lot of focus and energy towards being innovative. So that was my way of thinking, and my goal was to yes, innovation isn't just about glamorous breakthroughs, but it's also about operational excellence, right? So when we tend to forget about those routine things, mundane things, um, it gets in a way later down the road where you don't have enough time to actually focus on some of the innovative ideas and have that time to take a step back and have those deep thoughts to be able to figure out a new way how to solve a particular problem. So it's important to have a process basically for that shines the light for some of the things that are necessary, but that are not glamorous. So it's also important to remember that the processes, when you establish those, especially for like operational excellence and other things like maybe security reviews or design reviews or code reviews, whatever the process is, that it's there to help you achieve the objective. Think of it as a tool, and tools supposed to help you get somewhere or do something better, more efficient. It's not supposed to hinder that, right? And when you're doing those things, you're doing it to build something, to achieve something. So you have a particular objective. So the tool should not be overshadowing that what you're using the tool for. So essentially, the process should not be for the sake of the process. It's just a tool, just like when we're using something. Like let's say we're having like a hammer that's supposed to push the nails into, let's say, a wood, and we're not really um, spending a lot of time thinking about the hammer, like you know, uh, and trying to serve that, but instead, it should really serve us to achieve whatever project or objective that we have. So think about the processes in that way, and then constantly review them and make sure that they're efficient, they're helping your teams move fast. Maybe uh, it helps you sort of go through, let's say, a run book, right? Go through troubleshooting very quickly, identify some of the issues or root cause of the issues, etc. So um, uh, it should be very lean. It should be very effective, and it shouldn't really demoralize your team for like when they think about something. Oh, now I need to fill out like 20 pages of this paperwork to get something done. So that really it kills the culture of innovation. So a culture of innovation relies on agility, right? And that means streamlining the process to maximize the impact without unnecessary complexity is very important. Cultivating the culture of innovation is important, but as a leader, you have to recognize that true innovation requires deep and original thought that goes beyond typical training, right, or surface level knowledge. So it's important, while it's important to provide the opportunities for professional development and skill building and knowledge sharing, it's also important to emphasize to carve out time for deep thinking and reflection, and that's very difficult to do when there's a lot of chaos around. There's lack of processes to deal with that chaos. So individuals will get very distracted and not going to be able to have those deep thoughts. So it's important to ensure that you on the team there isn't really a high operational burden, constant fires, but it's in a stable state where individuals do have a luxury of having those deep reflections and deep thinking. It's true breakthroughs often come from those individuals who have the space and time to explore ideas at a much deeper level rather than constantly chasing immediate tasks. So, encouraging your teams to challenge that conventional wisdom and think critically and creating an environment where the profound insights can emerge and drive meaningful innovation is very important. The other important aspect is to ensure that you understand the chemistry on the team between different individuals. You understand their interactions, you understand if there is a conflict, and you try to resolve it as quickly as possible, because um, if those conflicts start putting down roots, it will create a lot of friction on the team, on the project, and will result in delaying some of the deliverables or objectives, or derailing some of the things completely. So, addressing the root causes is also important, not just the symptoms. And sometimes it's hard to find the root causes because a lot of the times you don't know where the different individuals coming from. Maybe it wasn't whatever the conflict was there wasn't transparent or in front of you and happened somewhere else. Um, and if that's the case, where it's difficult to identify a root cause and a conflict persists, it's probably better to move individuals to different areas where they can thrive separately without causing disruption. And so, healthy team dynamics are extremely crucial for fostering innovation, because they allow for individuals on the team to be open, honest, have clear, transparent communication and collaboration. And conflict resolution should focus on long-term harmony rather than quick short-term fixes, and make sure that your team remains aligned and motivated. The other thing I found was very helpful for the team to um, remain passionate about some of the work that they're doing is to understand the big picture, the big goals, how their individual effort is contributing to that picture. So, drawing that connection for those individuals and explaining where their work fits in that grand scheme of things. So, sharing your intent behind individual tasks or behind different projects, providing additional context, and helping align their individual efforts with overarching organizational goals helps immensely. So when the team members see how their work impacts a larger vision, they're more likely to stay engaged and stay motivated on the project. It's important to also recognize and celebrate both teams and individual successes as well. Uh, but be very careful to avoid playing favorites, right? You can't just celebrate a particular individual over and over again without acknowledging other contributions. So, fair recognition fosters a positive atmosphere where everyone feels valued on the team. And celebration should reflect the collective contributions of the team and recognize individual achievements in a way that encourages the continued excellence. So, avoid creating environments where only select few are celebrated. Like I said, it just erodes the morale and kills the collaboration. High performing teams thrive when everyone around them pulls their weight, right? Uh, it, they those individuals don't like when they are the only ones who may be pulling the weight or doing the hard work. So, identifying and addressing the low performance quickly and ensuring that only those contributing to the team goals remain on the team or part of the group is extremely critical. So, innovation demands focus, and that means surrounding your high performance with equally motivated and capable teammates is critical. And a lot of the times, it actually eats into the team's capacity when somebody's sandbagging, creates more mistakes, and that leads to maybe software defects or more time takes to do the code reviews. and that eats into the capacity of the team, and they're doing things that they may not necessarily be are enjoying doing, as opposed to working on something creative and innovative. So addressing the performance issues swiftly and decisively help maintain a culture of accountability and ensures that the team's momentum is not disrupted. I've been in situations where some of the individuals who my initial impression or reaction was that you know they they're not high performers, or they can't solve that particular problem because they're just don't have the right aptitude or the skill set or whatever, right? And but I usually try to keep an open mind and try to retest and retest some of those individuals and give them assignments, and try to calibrate myself in terms of which ones of the projects meet their current level, and then understanding what it needs to be done to grow them and take them to the next level. And so what helped me is to avoid holding grudges or prejudge those individuals, right? And if they make mistakes or if they embarrass you in front of your boss, I understand it's their immaturity, and I try to work with them and keep an open mind, and give them second chance um, uh, to redeem themselves in a way, right? So uh, it just have to be balanced against um, the the fact that if it's a high performing team, you have to identify those very quickly and address the performance issues very quickly. So maybe those individuals can work on some of the supportive tasks, not the critical path, etc. But they have to be providing or delivering value to the team or to the business while they're continuing to grow. And so that culture of fairness and redemption can keep the innovation alive. I've seen some of those individuals kind of surprise me over time of the things that they were able to do that I would not have thought that they could actually do it, because my bar and expectations of those individuals was very low. But at the same time, there were some individuals who would consistently um, be demotivated or disengaged and consistently fail over and over to complete their task. And you realize there's the second chances are not unlimited, right? So, and you have to take that action fairly quickly when you identify that there is a pattern of an individual who's not capable or not willing. A lot of the times they're just not willing to do hard things. So, encouraging individual autonomy while ensuring alignment with team goals is also important. Uh, Innovation flourishes when the team members feel empowered to make the decisions, obviously within a specific framework, and it's up to you as a manager and that individual to kind of define, depending on their skills, depending on their maturity level as leaders, on what those boundaries should be. Um, but it has to, their work has to support that collective mission, right? So even if they're going and doing something on their own, it has to be directed towards achieving the right goals and objectives. Um, like I said, it depends on the level of maturity. Obviously, very mature individuals, say senior principal engineers, they would know how to define that objective and how to define those goals that will contribute to the company and find the right set of problems and solve them, etc. Versus some of the more junior individuals, they will need to have guidance. Yes, there's got to be room for the creativity, but they can't just go on and do some random things. Let's say you're focusing on uh, financial technologies, and the individual goes and builds some, I don't know, video game for TikTok or whatever. So completely a random thing. So that's it has to be aligned with obviously with the mission. But providing that space for the individuals to take the ownership of their own ideas while ensuring, obviously, that they contribute to the overall direction is important. And so that balance between the autonomy and the alignment drives the innovation while keeping the team moving in that unified direction. So obviously, all of these principles are easier said than done, right? And uh, it does require a lot of work. So it does require a lot of work, and um, but collectively they create an environment where individuals can innovate, they can thrive by fostering the culture of trust, collaboration, diversity of thought, and willingness to take calculated risks, and allowing for the room for individuals to take those risks, and allowing for the room for them to fail as well. Yeah, all of that requires a lot of work, and it's not like cut and dry. Uh, while I kind of draw on those principles based on my experience, I wasn't perfect, obviously, in implementing all of them consistently throughout the team, but my goal was to create that kind of culture within the team, and kind of looking back at what had transpired and what those teams had delivered. They delivered a lot of very innovative work. They solve very challenging, hard problems, and I'm very excited um, to be part of their journey and to work with those individuals. So anyway, I hope this was helpful, and I do have a blog that post specifically on this topic. Feel free to take a look at that. I will post the link in the description. I also have a community on Skool where you can join our discussions with some of the other team members, or I'll look at some of the courses that I have there. So feel free to explore that and let me know in the comments if you have any questions.